Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast on the English language on Canal International. I'm called Maureen. We'll begin with our top stories. The release from the ASIO Simon Emile Moore comes a few days after some elderly women in Babanki abducted in the Tuba subdivision were abducted and molested by alleged separatist fighters. And workers of the Cameroon Shipyard and Industrial Engineering Limited were on the streets today to protest 5 months of unpaid salaries plus poor working conditions, lack of social and health insurance schemes. Civil society activists have lauded the strive by government through the Minister of Territorial Administration Paul Atanga and G to curb the rising hate speech and xenophobia in the country, but task the powers that be to rather seek the causes of the phenomenon before searching for solutions. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The Senior Divisional Officer of Maison in the Northwest region of Cameroon has condemned in strong terms the recent serial killings and abductions in the Northwest region of Cameroon, describing them as barbaric. The release from the Senior Divisional Officer of Maison, Simon Emile Moore, comes few days after some elderly women in Babanki in the Tuba subdivision were abducted and molested by alleged separatist fighters. Several other persons kidnapped in the Northwest region are unaccounted for up to moments. More in the following story with our reporter Saleh Sharifa.
In the Ngok division, it is a commercial bike rider who is alleged to have received a medal at the National Day celebrations who was intercepted by separatist fighters, severely beaten up and killed. Angered by the horror, his fellow colleagues paraded the corpse on the streets of Ndop to the office of the Senior Divisional Officer before conveying it to the Ndop District Hospital mortuary. Over in the Momo division, there are 7 persons who are still unaccounted for after they were kidnapped. Amongst them, the CPDM section president, Fongi Stephen Ujambeng, who is also member of the Northwest Regional Assembly. They were rounded up to an unknown destination by armed men believed to be separatist fighters. Reports say they were on their way from the National Day celebrations in the Ngi subdivisional headquarters in Andek. And barely 1 day after the National Day, it is a teacher who was killed in a beer parlor along the New Roads neighborhood in Bamenda when gunmen stormed the recreational spot, seizing money, phones and other valuables from customers. All these adding to the 50 women abducted and tortured by separatist fighters in Big Babanki village, over whose heads the separatist fighters are dangling their threats for opposing the monthly tax earlier levied on men, women and children in Kejomkeko village, Tuba subdivision. The Senior Divisional Officer for Mezam, Simon Emile Moore, has in strong terms condemned the serial killings and the kidnapping of the elderly women in Babanki, stating investigations are underway to track down the perpetrators. The administrator has described the act of gender-based violence as barbaric and has urged the population to remain calm as defense and security forces work towards re-establishing peace and tranquility in Babanki.
That was rather a report by Annie Collins Annie and Gladys Ambodiban. And workers of the Cameroon Shipyard and Industrial Company today, or Engineering Limited, today went down the street to protest against 5 months unpaid salary and poor working conditions. They are said to have blocked the main way into the company. As we hear the story with our reporter, Saleh Sharifa.
When we got to the company, the workers were carrying placards while sitting on the floor with their hands on their heads. On the placards, one could read messages calling on the president to intervene to arrest the situation. Other messages were, "Our families are hungry."
There are so many workers that are sick, they are sleeping here now because they have removed their doors, promised many things that they are going to pay. They did not pay the insurance for the sick people. Up to now, we don't have it. They don't pay those premiums that I say, that have paid for some workers. Those who have relationship with the general manager, they have paid them. But people like us, nobody look at us.
3 years ago, these same workers downed their tools for the same reasons.
I myself, I have 8 people in my house. How do you think these people can live? How do I come to work without salary for 5 months? We will not be part of it. To see that some people left and care for us, then we come and close it. Today there's no insurance. And this is the company that people cannot work without the insurance. Because we do heavy duty project. And that somebody can even going out of here with the sick that he carried from here. There's no insurance.
A majority of the workers have worked with the shipyard company for 27 years without any improvement in their work conditions. All attempts to get to the administration was futile, as we were told the managerial team was absent.
The Minister of Public Works has frowned at contractors' ongoing construction works on the Douala-Bonepopa Road axis. Speaking during an evaluation tour this Tuesday in Douala, the Minister has given marching orders to the contractors to speed up with the works. Meantime, the Minister appreciated the advancement of work on the east entrance of Douala. More on the story with our reporter, Henry Atembe.
Construction work on the east entrance into Douala is still to be completed. The 2-lane urban expressway is in its second phase, expected to address the excruciating question of traffic congestion. The coming of Public Works Minister Emmanuel Ganu Jumasi is to grapple with the evolution of the 9-kilometer lane connecting Boko Junction and the Dibamba Bridge. From a prudent analysis, the minister appreciated the construction company McGill for the meteoric advancement of the works.
Satisfied with what is going on there. I'm satisfied. The company Mark has mobilized himself properly. McGill is doing his best. They are working very hard. Mark, Aegis, McGill, they are forming a very, very, very good team.
From the east entrance, the public work bus drifted to the 37-kilometer road connecting Bonepopa to Douala, whose execution rate stands at 51% as of April 2023. The minister frowned at the snail pace of the work.
It's very, very unfortunate that we are facing a situation in which you have a company mobilized in a section of the route, not this section of the route, Douala-Bonepopa, who has equipment but no human resources. The payment has been done in his favor. I would like to recognize that there are still some areas, but less than 500 million. So I have decided to withdraw the contracts.
He, however, called on the contractors to proceed with the compliance regulations to ensure the completion. When completed, these 2 axes will facilitate movements in and out of the city of Douala.
Civil society activists have lauded the strides made by a government through the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, to curb the rising hate speech and xenophobia in the country, but tax the power that be to get into the root causes of the problem in order to seek solutions to the problem. Haisencha talked to Ernest Akufo, who poured out his views on the Minat outing. His story.
Cameroon in the latest months is sinking in hate speech, tribalistic and xenophobic utterances. It is time the government hits hands on the table to abolish such a dangerous phenomenon which is tearing the country apart.
It is now imperative and a matter of urgency to draw the attention of everyone and urge all to become collectively aware of the harmful consequences of such practices in daily life. Intellectuals, politicians, activists of all kinds, whistleblowers, and other influencers are among those who are spearheading this regrettable phenomenon.
In this joint press conference on Wednesday, May 17, that brought together the Minister of Communication, René Emmanuel Sadi, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, and the President of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, Peter Mafani Musonge, it was reiterated that the cankerworm in some individuals, pushing them to downgrading other ethnic groups, must come to a stop right now.
That there is no superior or inferior ethnic group in Cameroon, and that all ethnic components are equal in our country. This means, ladies and gentlemen, that the existence and exacerbation of hate speech is a real threat to the social cohesion and stability in our country.
The outing coming at the eve of the Feast of the National Day, the message is very clear.
A Cameroonian is a Cameroonian no matter where he is. And that politicians should not use hate speech as a political tool to manipulate. It becomes extremely very dangerous. We cannot accept it within our community.
Though still at the education and sensitization phase, the government announces that from now onward, perpetrators of hate speech shall be brought to book, according to the December 2019 law and other international legal instruments.
Muslim pilgrims have expressed indignation to the additional amount asked by banks as deposits for their reservation to the Holy Land, Mecca. Most of them are seeing the risk not flying to the holy city of Mecca and Medina for their pilgrimage to the High Coast. Our reporter, Stella Sharifa, has been talking to some Muslim pilgrims. Her story.
Abdullahi Ali will certainly fail to complete his fifth pillar as he might not fly to the Holy Land as a result of an additional charges considered exorbitant. When I got there, they told me there was no room for what is called the classic seat, which cost the normal 2.9 million, with the help of the head of state subvention of 1 billion. Otherwise, we would have been at 3.2 million. And they asked me an additional 1 million for the VIP class. I am so frustrated. Despite a 1 billion CFA francs subvention from the head of state, the pilgrims say the situation has not changed as they smell fraud. Pilgrims who are securing reservations at the last minute have been asked to pay an additional 1 million francs. This has brought the cost to 3.9 million instead of 2.9 million. Your name and see the available places yourself. The 1 billion that the head of state made available to Muslims will have to really reach the little poor pilgrims. There are people using the pilgrimage to fill their pockets. Sise Bamanga is another pilgrim. He says the government could facilitate the procedure through the creation of an online platform where reservations could be made.
And in health, we talk about cholera, which continue to claim more lives in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, same like other regions of the country. But while these code of silence amidst the cases of cholera across Cameroon, we talk about the Kondinge prison, Acacia Market, and many other neighborhoods in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. An alarming number of patients at the Junkolo District Hospital. Our reporter Beatrice Ngamo exchanged with a health economist her story.
The routine cleaning around the homes and compound may look insignificant, but it is one of the measures many feel can help keep off cholera from homes and children. Always clean around the house. While preparing food, you can make a mistake and death enter into the food. So that is the proper washing of fruits and vegetables, potable water before consumption. To eat is the normal washing of hands with soap and clean water before all. When I buy fruits in the market, I wash them. Even fruits should be well washed with drops of bleach or vinegar. Children should wash hands properly before eating. Wash hands well before anything after the toilet. Having a mango tree in her compound, the sensitization message she passes to the children who pick the delicious fruit is to ensure proper washing before sucking the fruit. As far as the children are concerned, this parent has imposed his rules. Restriction on children not to eat outside, but only at home. These Yaoundé inhabitants are aware of the cholera situation in the region and have come up with their magic formula to protect themselves and families, while waiting for the authorities that be to do more. Cholera is real in Yaoundé. High time many respect the traditional preventive measures good for our well-being.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is The Brief with Lil Piejou. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.